What's up, guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Deuce Talk, aka Shit Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deucez.
Step aside.
We have quite a few things to go over today, and a lot of ranting, but it's all right. We're here to learn. Number one, do not, I repeat, do not buy followers, plays, likes, etc. One, it's usually obvious. It's pretty obvious when you buy followers or your plays or whatever it is that you're buying. Don't do that. One, it's a bad look. Secondly, you're not going to get booked. Like a promoter or even a record label, a manager, an agent, someone is going to research you, and when they research you, they're going to see it, and they'll pick up on it, and it makes you look dumb. And at the same time, it makes you look desperate, and it's not a good look. Number two, don't be that guy that comments, "Yo, go check out my stuff" on other people's stuff. One, makes you look desperate. Two, you kind of also look like an idiot. Majority of the time, the retention rate on that is terribly low. Like, you'd be lucky that someone even sees it, let alone clicks on it, let alone goes and clicks onto your profile and actually listens to your music. That's not a good way to try to get fans. You're better off actually going into specific groups on Facebook or even, public forums on Reddit, whatever, to actually promote your music. You can actually go on there and promote it and say, hey, like, I just made this, can you check it out or give me some feedback, whatever. And that's how you should do it, not going and commenting on other people's stuff to check your stuff out. Because one, not only are you going to undermine the creator of said content that you've now commented on, you also, like, you're undermining your own self and your own quality of your work. Number three, stop thinking if you make it, people will listen. That is a big thing that I've noticed a lot of, like, up and coming people or, novice producers. They have this mindset that they can just make music and either A, release it and not do any promo, no nothing, and they'll just get the plays, and that's not how it works. Or you got B, where they make a bunch of music and they just don't release it. They sit on it. They think that it'll just magically do something for them, and that's not how it works. You have to release it for people to listen to it. If I had to give some constructive criticism on that, share it, post it, promote it. Go on Facebook. I was just talking about this in number two. Go on Facebook, find a Facebook group. As far as Rhythm, we have the Rhythm Dubstep community, we have the Rhythm Dubstep Society, and there's a plethora of other smaller groups for Rhythm. And you can find the same thing for Tear Out, Dubstep, House, you name it, there's a group for it. Number four, and this one personally kind of grinds my gears. Stop asking for collabs if you don't have something to bring to the table. Now, I'm not trying to say if you're ass at producing, don't reach out for collabs, because you should, but make sure it's within reason. Be realistic. Obviously for myself, I wouldn't reach out to someone like Subtronics or Sudden Death because I'm not anywhere near their level. I guess you would call it clout-wise, to where I would even have enough pull to even ask for something like that, and that would almost be disrespectful to ask. Now, on the other hand, don't get me wrong, I've also been approached about collabs, like Cod Dubs, El Ross, the homies. They asked me for a collab, which, of course, for me was very odd, and I was like, what? Like, you guys want to do a track with me? That's awesome. Like, yeah, I'd love to. And that's because I had something to bring to the table. I had my production, I had my sound design, I had my overall brand and something I'm building. But when you don't have those things, it doesn't add up. Like, I personally, and this is where it grinds my gears, I personally get asked all the time, collab bro? But it's always, majority of the time, some dude that's been producing for like 2 days. And I mean that literally, because I will ask them, how long have you been producing? Because I'd love to check out your stuff. Like, if you're good, I'll work with you, and that's how I work. I don't look at numbers. I'm not about clout. I do it for the culture, my guy. That being said, again, just don't reach out if you don't have the knowledge. be mindful. On a side note to this, segueing into lessons. I love doing lessons with people. I love teaching people. But one of the biggest things that will annoy me is if we hop into a free brainstorm session, do not get cocky. Do not get arrogant. Do not tell me that you know Ableton inside and out, because I've had that happen a couple times. And for one instance, there was one guy that told me he knew Ableton like it was the back of his hand in our brainstorm session. I was like, okay, then what is it you want to learn? Because that's the point of the brainstorm session, is for me to see where you're at with things and for you to tell me what it is that you want to learn. And that's free. Then from there is when we do the paid lesson and I can teach you those things you want to learn. So going into that paid lesson, this dude didn't know anything about Ableton, but I didn't really pick up on that until we were already like 45 minutes into this, because that was a rhythm sound design lesson in Serum. So pretty much the only thing we were covering was Serum. But when I asked him to add a MIDI track, that's when it became an issue. That's when I picked up on it being an issue. He didn't know how to add an audio track or a MIDI track, didn't know what a VST was. We were inside of Serum, which Serum is a VST. It is a plugin, it's a synth, VST plugin. Not trying to knock the dude, but I wish the dude was honest from the start and said, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing. Because at the end of this whole lesson that we did on sound design, I ended up figuring out, like, hey, be honest with me. When we did the session, you said you knew Ableton, but now that we're in here, you're missing a lot of the Ableton basics that, I wish I would have went over with you instead of the sound design today, but how long have you been producing? And that's when he finally was truthful with me and told me that he had just picked up Ableton 2 nights prior. So that would make sense as to why this man's did not know how to add an audio track, add a MIDI track, didn't even know what a VST was, and also didn't know how to go from pattern view to playlist view by using the tab key. And the only reason that grinds my gears is, at the end of the day, if you are paying me money, I want to make sure I am doing the best job of teaching you something that you want to learn. But at the end of that session, he couldn't even retain any of that whole hour. So now, not only did he waste his own time, but he also kind of wasted my time, because now we're going to have to re-go over all of that when he's finally capable to retain it and understand it. Don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful that he supported me and supported my business, but at the end of the day, I did not feel fulfilled. But at the end of the day, I wish he would have just been truthful from the start, because I want to make sure you guys learn what it is you guys want to learn. Number 5, another big one, is be patient. This is something I struggled with for years, but now that I've been around for 12 years doing this stuff, I've had to learn to be patient and just trust the process. And I think that's something a lot of you guys might need to hear. It's kind of a bittersweet thing. Good things come in due time. Make sure to trust the process. Keep doing you. Keep making bangers. And keep working on making yourself better every single day. And you never know what could happen. You make a track that sounds really cool, really dope, has a really good rhythm to it or a flow to it, and all of a sudden it's getting played out at Lost Lands, or it's getting played out at some club by your favorite artist. You never know what can happen. So always just keep moving forward, keep pushing, and I believe in you guys. You got this. If you guys have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, or maybe even the subscribe button if you want to learn production on rhythm, dubstep, that kind of stuff. But that's about it for today, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.
I cast you into the pits of take him down.